So unfortunately, Scott Westgarth passed away after his fight in Doncaster. I think it was Doncaster, yeah, the Doncaster Dome on the weekend. He passed away and today. He won the fight, a 10-round contest. It was brutal. I remember watching the contest on YouTube and his post-fight interview as well. And it's weird because the thing that really stuck to my mind about his post-fight interview was um, he said, I know I'm not going to be world class level. I do this for the fun of it and for the entertainment. I just enjoy boxing. So it's weird when you hear those words from a fighter, and then obviously what's happened now. I've always loved boxing, always have, and always will. Um, I've said on numerous occasions that I think it's the toughest sport in the world. Some people will say mixed martial arts, maybe, but to me, I always think that boxing is the toughest sport in the world you can do. I like all types of fights, all types of fighters. I respect every single person that laces up the gloves. I've said this numerous times. Um, I come on this little YouTube channel and I critique fighters. Sometimes I even laugh at fighters. But one thing I always get across and always make it clear is that I respect every single fighter that laces them up. Because I've done it. Trust me, I've done it. I've done it at a young age. I'm going to talk about that in a second. I've also done it every time I go to the gym. I put on the gloves and do a bit of bag work. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult. Um, but in the back of my mind, every time I'm watching a brutal fight on TV, every single time I'm watching it, there's something in the back of my mind that says this sport's too dangerous. I can't lie to you guys. Some people might critique me for saying that because my job is a boxing commentator. But I do. I do look at the sport sometimes and think the sport's too brutal. And it's funny because I've even on commentary got in trouble by my directors and producers. I see a fighter get hit a couple too many times and immediately I'm saying, okay, the ref should jump in now. And they've been on me going, Ade, stop saying that. But there's something about me that sees a fighter losing or getting beaten up and thinks, okay, enough's enough here. Forget this warrior code thing. Stop the fight. Just stop it. And it's funny because Nassim Hamid obviously recently has been given somewhat praise but somewhat criticism for saying he thinks Eubank Jr. should retire to help himself. Because he thinks that Eubank Jr. could get hurt because he has this macho thing too much, right? Um, and I understand what Hamid was saying. Do I think Eubank Jr. should retire? No, but I understand what he's saying. I done a fight. I commentated on a fight in South Africa. Can't remember the fighter's name, which is bad. But I remember commentating on the fight. It wasn't even brutal, people. The guy got knocked down, and then he started acting erratic in the ring. And I'm on commentary, and I almost didn't know what to say. I was stuttering my words, didn't know what to say. I was trying to almost make everyone at home not be put off by what was going on in the ring. That's kind of my job. I didn't want to highlight what's happening. He collapsed. They kind of gave him oxygen, and that was it. Stretchered off and went backstage, and we continued the show. So I remember after the show asking, "How's that fighter?" Oh, he died on the way to the hospital. That guy died. His wife and kids were there. He was actually favourite to win. It was a very fringe title fight, but it was his big step up. He was favourite to win. His wife and kids were there. Now he's dead. And that's why, for me, I always battle with it. People will say the argument is that fighters know exactly what they're getting into. And sometimes I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they know what they're getting into. I used to box for Newham Boys Club. I didn't have many fights, but I had a few. And I remember the Eubank Watson fight. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I still do remember it. So I remember watching that fight. What was I? It's 11. Yeah, 91. So I was about 11. I remember watching that fight, and I remember all the aftermath of it. Watson collapsing, and then we all obviously know what happened after. And I remember then, even at that young an age, thinking, I don't think I want to box anymore. So I never went back. And I kind of play with that in my mind, like, why didn't I go back? Was it a wimp thing to do? But I just made that decision at such a young age that it isn't for me. I don't know if fighters from a young age So I'm talking 11, 12, 13 are told about the dangers of boxing. I don't know. I'm not sure they're told about it. Obviously, when you're young, it's headgear, it's the gloves are bigger, the rounds are shorter. So the dangers at that kind of junior stage are very minimal. No one's getting hurt at that stage, really. I mean, a bloody nose, maybe, but nothing serious, right? But are they told the dangers of when they cross over to be professional, where the gloves are smaller, there is no headgear, the rounds are bigger? If fighters are told about the dangers then at that age, they then make the decision if they want to continue, or their parents do. I think once you're not told about those dangers, and it's 15, 16, and you're still a boxer, it's too late. You're in love with the sport, you can't get out of it. It's too late, trust me. I know many boxers that just love the sport. But I wonder if all those boxers that love the sport, if they were told about the dangers when they were young, would still be doing it. I wonder. I don't know. What can be done? What can be done to prevent serious injuries, or in this case, the death of someone like Scott Westgarth? I don't know what can be done, if I'm honest with you. I almost feel like that's just part and parcel of the sport we love. The danger is part and parcel of the sport we love. And us as fans, we love those fights. We don't like watching Mayweather fights. We love Matisse versus Provodnikov. We loved Ben versus Gerald McClellan. We love those matchups. We call for those matchups on a regular basis. We like seeing wars, but we never understand fully the repercussions of the fighter in those wars. We're just like, come on, throw more punches, throw more punches. And I've been ringside and I'm thinking, it's too much now. It can be stopped, but that's just me. I think sometimes cornermen need to save their fighters. Fighters will never save themselves. Fighters will carry on and on and on and on. Cornermen need to be brave and say, enough's enough. It happens sometimes. Which is why I laugh when people say Kell Brook quit. Oh, Kell Brook's a quitter. It's just ridiculous. And I think he's a quitter. What should he do? Be blind for us? Is that what he should do? I mean, yeah, go on, keep fighting. Your orbital bone's broken, but keep fighting because that's what you're supposed to do. And then what? We forget him when he's blind in 10 years' time and broke. I think referees sometimes need to be educated. Referees, I think, sometimes go on fighters' toughness, right? They look at a certain fighter and think this fighter can take a bit more punishment. He's used to taking it. He's okay. Bullshit. And they'll look at some fighters, like in the case of Carl Froch, George Groves, for example. George Groves was considered chinny, right? So as soon as Carl Froch landed one or two, the fight was stopped because, oh no, Groves is chinny and this is dangerous. Carl Froch got hit with a hell of a lot more punches than Groves did. But it's okay. Carl Froch can continue because he's a tough man. He's a warrior. That needs to stop. That needs to stop now. That's just so much BS. That is so much BS because no one really fully knows how a fight is going to be in 10, 15, 20 years' time. When all that starts to come back. And NFL have done studies on this where NFL players have retired okay, and in 10 or 15 years' time, they're all over the place because of those injuries. So that warrior shit, stop it. Referees need to be educated. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this? And how can we almost improve boxing so that we don't get serious injuries, we don't get deaths? How do you do it? I mean, look, answers on a postcard, because I really don't know. But what I do know is that I love the sport, but at the same time, I feel like the sport somehow needs to be improved to prevent this. I think kids need to be educated so they know exactly what they're getting into. And maybe not the kids, but parents need to be educated. So parents need to be sat down and say, okay, look, we're happy for your son to join this boxing club, but these are the possible dangers of boxing. And then make the decision. At 16, 17, 18, it's far too late. It's far too late. 11, 12, start educating. But look, rest in peace, Scott Westgarth. Condolences to his friends, his family, everyone. And let's hope that out of something like this, we can at least learn from it and make better decisions going forward. Yeah? All right. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Peace.